on the sign is the single biggest decision a home seller makes in whole process. I know you wanted the most money in this process.
But it's not always arrived there by just what we want. It's arrived not by guess, not just by like looking at these certain websites, and it's not borrowed from the house that's right next door or that sold a few years back. So basically we're going to talk about pricing of the home today. And if you're here to talk about selling your home in Pitt County or Greenville area, and maybe the kitchen is something that you want to talk about, or the roof has some age on it, or your phone hasn't stopped ringing because of those scammers who are telling you that they're going to buy the place sight unseen, we have made this video for you.
Exactly. Therefore, we work with the home seller in 3 different spots who all land on the same question. And some are, for example, upgrading, like for example, the family outgrowing and they wanted to a bigger place, and they have this way always anxiety about the timing. And what else?
Or maybe you're an empty nester, kids are gone, and now you just want something smaller that's a little less cleaning. So you're still attached to your home because that's where all your kids grew up, but you just want something a little smaller that feels personal. Or
you are relocating for a job, for a family, and on a clock that didn't yet set, and needing a process to run efficiently for you that basically needs someone that you can trust and help you, because that is maybe your first time or maybe your second time, but you need somebody to handhold you to have the less stress and go as smoothly from A to Z to make sure everything goes on the way that.
And these are all completely different reasons, and you all have, everybody has the same worry underneath. How much is my house worth? Is it priced right? And how do I know? And maybe just I should look online, and that's not always the right answer. Let's talk about what's driving your home prices in our area in Pitt County, North Carolina, Greenville, Winterville, Ayden, Farmville, Grimesland, Grifton, Ayden, Bethel, Stokes, all of the above.
My wife said all the 14 towns in Pitt County, North Carolina.
If I missed one, I'm sorry.
But let's talk about it. The value in Pitt County, North Carolina homes comes down to 4 things to work together. What are those 4 things?
The first one is going to be the physical characteristics of the house. How many bedrooms, how many baths, what's the square footage, what's the age of the structure, its condition, and what are the big ticket items? The HVAC, the roof, the plumbing, the electrical systems. Has the kitchen been updated?
And the second thing is about the lot itself. For example, what is the size of the lot? Whether the yard that you have is fenced, or whether it backs to the open space instead of another house in the neighborhood.
The third thing is location. Is it proximity to the major employers? Is it to the major roadways? Because our area is not necessarily one market town. We have a lot of towns, as I was naming, and each have their own kind of dynamics and their own price points because they have a little bit of a location, like how to get to places.
Or if they are close to any amenities. And the last one is the housing market condition. Basically, we wanted to talk about...
Which we update our website every day.
Yes. Therefore, if you go to livinggreenvillenc.com, you see that there is a market update that is all up to date.
And I probably have your subdivision right there.
Exactly. Therefore, at the number 4, which is the housing market, what it comes really in place is a supply and demand, meaning that how fast homes actually coming to the market and selling. And we have again update that tells you what is the housing market is in each area in Pitt County, North Carolina. How long does it take in average to a house get listed and get sold?
Now, once that's the 4 basic frames, but underneath that is where the real work happens, and it's not necessarily glamorous. It's not just something you can click. The square footage, that's on the county website. That's not always authoritative. You can't anchor your price to the county website. Appraisers use it as a standard size, and they measure with the standard size. And county records are just a different measurement, so taken for a different purpose at a different time for a different reason. And those 2 numbers can be interchangeable, but they are not always interchangeable. So we always have to talk about measuring the home, or what's the real measurement.
What about the permits?
That's another one. Permits have to be pulled. Permits have to be scrutinized, because it's not just a bare search of value. You have to make sure that there's if there is no permit on record, we have to say, well, why? Is it just too old? Is it something? So you have to run a control test to see if permits are even there, or if we're just pulling the wrong area, if you're pulling the right area, which we usually are, and it's actually working, and really understanding how that area and that the county and the city might index it.
Which it comes all to a question, basically, because you ask the home seller, is what project you did, like for example, putting a brand new roof, or if you did any kitchen update or what.
Those are updates. I'm talking about changes to the house.
Changing of the house, basically, if they permit it. And this is not the same thing that they say yes versus the one that actually been recorded in the county website that you asked for the permit and they gave you the permit.
And the next one we're going to talk about is covenants. And really those are kind of boring. Nobody likes to talk about the covenants that might run with the land, but we really need to know what those covenants are. They're recorded documents that are being buried page by page on the county websites. And they really kind of rule how that property might have amendments to the covenants. So we have to know what are the legal descriptions of the property. So when someone is coming into this property, they know what it is and you can kind of share it right away.
Exactly. But the kind of that actual things that is turned up, for example, is a recorded minimum square footage for the ground floor of the house, a cap on how large, for example, a for sale is allowed to be, and a requirement that a fence gets written approval before it goes up. These are super important.
And I did run a really quick analysis that basically when I did a minimum of 1,400 square feet on the county card, most of the homes are about 14, 17 that are sold. There is on average a 17 square foot difference. And just as what I did as a fun research project for myself, just to know. But so there's usually a discrepancy, and that's just the example of when I pulled the 1,400s.
Exactly. And it's far better to know before a buyer's attorney finds it during the due diligence when you're going through. And now we wanted to talk about CMA.
A real CMA. When you pull a real estate agent in, and it's not just they went onto the website and they looked at the automated estimate.
And I wanted to tell you a true story. A couple of days ago, we got a phone call from somebody that wanted to sell the house. And I said, well, we're going to run for the accurate CMA. And he was telling me, oh, I don't have the time. Go to the Zillow.com and tell me what is the value of my house is. And that's what we wanted to talk about.
And Zillow said what? And do you remember? There was like a $30,000 difference in their favor if they had just let us run an analysis full time. But they just want to know Zillow and go, which isn't necessarily the good answer at all. Because honestly, if you just want the analysis, well, then that takes a little bit more time. And that's without even seeing the home. Because when we see the home, that also matters as well. Because then again, I know the numbers on paper, but again, depends on what's going on in the house. And maybe you are okay selling it for $30,000 less because your bathrooms are bad, your kitchen is bad, things like that. So a real market analysis is going to look at least 3 homes and read them differently. And then we're going to look for right-sized homes in the area. Which ones closed, which ones didn't close, which ones are active, because you need to know what your different weights are. And
exactly.
If the home is expired in the area, why didn't that work? Was its price too high? So you have to know all of these things and have it be adjusted for square footage, upgrades, and conditions. And this is, again, before we've seen the house. And when we see the house, then we're going to have some adjustments too.
Exactly. Therefore, we talk about that value that we're talking. That is basically they call it AVM, which is automated estimate, automated value estimate that this website they're going to give you. And here's basically the honest things that we need to tell you. A structural reason that automated value cannot give you a specific price for your house that we were trying to sell or we're trying to evaluate.
Now, yes, we're going to look at public records. Even if your house has never been listed, and we have to, also those automated systems aren't pulling the governments, they're not pulling the permits, they're not looking at all of the different things that it cannot be measured from the auditor, how a appraiser is going to measure. It has no idea if the roofs are new, if houses were never even listed on the open market or in your neighborhood. It really is just going to have to say, what are the real numbers and what is the gap?
Exactly. Access roughly 2,000 closed sales in our Pitt County, North Carolina, carrying a record tax assessed value, the sold price land at the median about 1.09 times of the assessed value. This is the research that you did, no? Mm-hmm. And this is why many home seller or home buyer are asking us, oh, the tax value said 280, but the property is 350. Why I should pay 350 for something that tax value is 280.
Now, basically, half of those homes are going to fall within 10. Some of them are going to be 30% different. Some of them are going to 20. The algorithm is not necessarily going to tell you all of this information, give you wrong information based on your home that it might not actually be any relevant to your actual home. So it's not that the algorithm is being careless. It's just looking at like the simplistic view. And let's talk about another thing. What if your house isn't perfect? Because that happens to a lot of people.
For example, for example, so if you have a kitchen that is original kitchen, your bathroom are dated, and the mechanicals have some years on it, like your HVAC system, for example.
Your electric is one of those screw-ins, not a click. That's a big problem.
It sells, but the condition is the single largest variable that no public records captures those, especially those automated AI value that you see online.
And basically, that's why it's important not just to look at the county website and not just to take that person's phone on the phone's deal, because those are typically scammers, and we can talk about that in a minute. But basically, you need to have someone who is there, who's local, who's walking in person, and maybe the original kitchen, the dated bathrooms, the systems have some age on it. Maybe that can be priced by someone who actually seen the home, knows the home, and knows the area, because that is going to be your big factors in this home. Maybe it's really not as bad as you think, and you shouldn't be selling it for so little. So none of this is a reason to why your house should be far less. Let's just talk about, but if your house isn't perfect, it can be worked out, and you don't have to go to scammers to try to get some money.
Exactly. Which just comes to this question that can you fix your house and make more money? And basically, should you renovate your house before you list it?
And that's up to you. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And the honest way to go is what are kitchens worth? What can you afford? And what's going on in the neighborhood if that was going to happen? So you should have somebody who can answer those questions for you. So I wouldn't tell you to spend all this money if it's not, at the end of the day, not going to matter. Exactly. Right there. So we have to answer this honestly. We pull up the closed sales. We look at what's going on in the homes in the area that's sold in the area, and look at the ones that had the dated kitchens. Maybe those are the same type of buyers that are going to buy your home. So sometimes the math is right there in the kitchen and in the photos that we have to pull up. So just because someone says the money is there, doesn't mean that they're pricing it correctly.
Exactly. Therefore, instead of putting all this effort and putting the money that you're not supposed to put, maybe we should talk about price it correctly based off the market, based off the subdivision that your house is located, to get the most money out of your house.
Now, you don't want to spend past your line, and then because you're not going to get past that money, you're not going to get that money back at closing. So if you have the best kitchen on the block and everybody else's kitchen is from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and yours is the brand new, you spend $30,000 and everybody else spent $10,000, you're not getting that $20,000 back because you put it in the kitchen. So you really need to know someone, you can do it if you love it and you want it in your house, but when you go to sell it, you can't always get that bigger number. So you should know before you make these kind of big investments if it's going to be something that's worthwhile.
Exactly. Therefore, in national average, they say if you spend $1, you're going to get 40 cents back. And of course, it depends on which part of the house are you updating, the bathroom or kitchen or the flooring. But this is an average for the national for whole United States.
Now let's talk about the real risk of overpricing, because I see it in the MLS all the time. And most buyers might have wanted the house and they never saw it because the house was outside their number that they're sitting at. And basically, out of the 2,234 homes in Pitt County that closed in the last 12 months, more than a third, 35.6%, had to have a price cut in order to sell that home. So if it was sold faster, it would have been priced better. So a home that sat for more than 13 days on the market has 100% of probably their price is the problem.
Exactly. Therefore, that's the whole gap basically between the number that's arrived and the number that is just guessed. That's what we were saying, that pricing is one of the most important decisions that you make.
And let's talk about those people who call me every single day. Hey, do you want to sell your home? Hey, do you want to sell your home? Hey, do you want to sell your home? Because they're probably not real estate agents, because they would know a real estate agent, but they don't. They call me. So let's talk about those calls.
Exactly. Let's start.
Okay, I get those calls. I can tell.
Even for us as a real estate
I get those
agent.
calls. You get those calls as well. And then honestly, we can tell you stories, and we're just going to give you simple stories because we can't reveal too much. But recently, we've had a buyer looking to buy one of these homes where clearly they went to one of those phone calls. They accepted the number on the phone call, and honestly, those sellers got big time messed
Deal.
up. They got the buyer's getting an amazing deal. The sellers are not getting an amazing deal because they're paying the scammers way more than they would have to pay for a commission. They are getting, they price the house lower than it honestly should be. And then they're going to get, they get double screwed over and over and over again. If you had just talked to somebody who's local, who's not going to just be like, hey, sell your home, sell your home, sell your home, just get cash fast. Because at the end of the day, that house went on MLS. It went lower than price, and it's going to hurt them and it helps the buyer. It helps the buyer because that's why a buyer's buying the home, because he's like, I know this is a deal. So he gets a great deal because someone else made a bad deal.
Exactly. Therefore, do you want to add anything?
I mean,
there?
I get those calls all the time. That's really what I want to say. And really, why should you hire local?
Exactly. Therefore, this is also exactly why working with a real estate agent, a local real estate agent professional who actually live there in your area and knows the market on his or her fingertip is more than what is important for you, because that's how you can get the marketing to top dollar for your house.
We live in Greenville or Renovate. We work in Greenville all the time. We know the streets, we know the developments, we know the traffic patterns, we know the traffic coming out there, we know the proximity, how it's going to get to the medical district, we know the major employers, we know different shapes in the different pockets of the area. So
and
really,
we know how to market your house to basically those population of the home buyers that is exactly fit for your homes, because we have all this data. Therefore, we can actually market the house to those audience that looking specifically for your home.
And our goal is always simple. Our approach is simple. The goal is never to say what necessarily you want to hear, but it's based on the data that we can pull, based on the house, and based on the analysis that we can make ourselves. Every comp, every adjustment, every listing that's sold, we have pulled and we have looked at the truth. And the truth is, no automated system will ever give you that kind of hands-on, all hands on deck research to know what is the best price, when can you expect to close, what are the net processes, with 3 different numbers, all in 3 different things. So really, it is all about the listing agreement.
Exactly.
And so really understanding what your nets will be at the end is something that we just talk about when we're meeting you at the listing presentation.
Exactly. Therefore, we are Alan Victoria Pinder, EXP Real Estate Agent with EXP Realty, Icon Agent with EXP Realty.
Yeah.
We are local in Pitt County, North Carolina, and we live, of course, in Greenville, North Carolina. We are here to help you if you're home buyers or home sellers. And don't forget to watch all of our playlists here, and in description below there's a link you can book a calendar with us, and we love to connect with you. And don't forget, subscribe in our channel, and see you next time, and very excited.